everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Thursday today and I always jump on Thursdays at 2 o'clock Pacific and share a mystery challenge with you. So I shared the clues, well, it's an inspiration list basically earlier this morning, and I've suggested you make a project using at least 3 items in the list. And so the list contains stencils, blue, silver, rhinestones, and embossing paste. Now, hopefully there's enough on there that you could pick 3 things from it, at least 3 things, and make a card. I actually realized just before I went live that I'm using all 5 of the things on the list. Wasn't really by intention. I was going to use embossing paste. I knew that. And I was going to use a stencil. So that's all I had in my mind. But then as I pulled out the products I was going to use, I've ended up with blue, silver, and rhinestones as well. So there you go. It is possible to make this using all 5 of them. Now, you may not have embossing paste, and maybe you've never heard of embossing paste, but it's kind of a fun product. And there is lots of ways you can use it. You can use it like a paste and just create some texture on your card. It does take a little bit to dry. It's perfect for stencils. And I'm using the Abundant Beauty decorative masks, so stencils masks. And I'm using the one with the snowflakes. So you've seen me use the flower one at least a couple of times. But there is also houndstooth, some fall leaf patterns, and also stencils in that package. And so today I'm going to use the stencils. And one of the things you can do, there's 2 kinds of embossing paste. There's the plain one, I should explain. So, and plain versus shimmery. And the shimmery one is very shimmery. It is very pretty and it's perfect for snowflakes. So you can use it just as it is. Or you can add re-inker to it. Hey, Pam. And so you can change the color of it. So you don't want to do that to the entire jar. I'll show you what I do to take some out, and you don't need a lot of the re-inker either. The one thing about embossing paste is you need to make sure your jar, once you open it, your jar is very tightly sealed. And hey, Claudia, welcome. And I always take it, it comes in a plastic bag, and I take the plastic bag and seal over and then put the lid on. And hopefully that will keep it fairly tightly sealed, because it does dry up. And I haven't found a way to reconstitute it into a liquid again or into a paste again. All right, so let me switch over and I will show you, first of all, the inspiration list, and then we'll get started on the card. All right, so this was, again, the inspiration list. I said choose 3 items from it. So stencil, blue, silver, rhinestones, and embossing paste. Now, okay, so you do need a silicone mat because it is messy. It does come off, but you could probably, maybe you can see glitter on mine. Definitely some glitter on my grid paper, because I did I've made one of the masks up just because it needs a little bit of time to dry. Now this is the shimmery embossing paste, if you've never seen it. So again, I take it out of the plastic bag it comes in. This will be sealed, so I just take my scissors or a piercing tool and run it open to open it up. I just actually opened this up today. So this is the shimmery one, so save some of that that's on the lid. And the other thing that you probably will want, because like I said, it's a bit messy, is make sure you've got a baby wipe or something to wipe off the glittery glue, the embossing paste. And so this is very liquidy. I mean, it's a paste, so it's easy to use. We sell these palette knives as well. I believe there's 3 in a package. And so you can use these. If you don't have these, you might have a spatula that you use for baking. Okay, so let's start. What I want to do, so these are the these are the Abundant Beauty decorative masks. So you've seen me use these ones that are the kind of daisy sunflowers more than daisies. You've seen me use those a couple of times, and they are the ones that you can layer. There's 4 of them, and they've got the notches to make it really easy to layer. But in that same package, much to my surprise when I opened it, was the houndstooth, this really pretty fall leaf pattern, and then this one that's great, the snowflakes. So that's what I'm going to use today, is the snowflake one. Now I've got this is the block F. This is the largest block we have. So if you're going to just use embossing paste without coloring it, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to actually add some Balmy Blue re-inker. So I'm just going to take, and you don't need a ton. I don't want to run out either. So I've got probably a tablespoon. And again, I'm going to take that, let's see, I'm going to take my plastic and put over my lid just like that, and then seal it really tight. And hopefully the next time I go to use it, one, I can get the lid off, and 2, it won't be all dried up. Okay, so I've got my Balmy Blue re-inker. And depending on how dark you want it, I'm just going to add a couple of drops. It might be even darker than I want it, but that's okay. If it's too dark, add a little bit more embossing paste. If it's not dark enough, add another drop of the re-inker. And just mix it on this block. If you've got something else, you could use a piece of wax paper. I like my block to do because it's easy to wipe off. Okay, so there I've got my blue embossing paste. So I'm going to take this piece is basic white is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I just cut 1/4 of my cardstock. I've got a silicone mat, so hopefully I don't get it all over my grid paper, although I guess I do at times. And then you can lay your this is going to be trimmed down as well, remember. So I'm going to put my snowflakes kind of in the middle, and then a little piece of Post-it note tape just to hold it in place. Yeah, it's very fun. You can see that, hopefully see the sparkle. It's very glittery, so it's a great way to add glitter to your card without actually having glitter, because glitter's messy. Not that this isn't. Okay, so take some of your embossing paste, and then just kind of using the flat edge of your palette knife, I'm just kind of smoothing it. Now, if you want it to be, thick, you can actually leave it thick in places. So maybe you want the bigger snowflakes to be thicker, or you can, I'm just kind of scraping it off and using it. This is going to get wiped off basically. And then, so you could scrape this until it was quite flat. Or you can, like I've got it quite thick here. Now I just peel that off, and I have my snowflakes on here. And I don't know if you can see the thickness. So like a little bit there, you can kind of see the thickness. They kind of remind me of, I don't know, maybe I'm showing my age here, but when I was growing up, my mom would bake us birthday cakes, but she didn't decorate them. When I was little, you could get these. They were kind of like royal icing. Nobody ever ate them because they were so hard. They were the royal icing, and they were I think you could spell your name, and I probably happy birthday. And my mother would ice the cake and put them on. And so that's what this kind of reminds me of. When it's thick like this, it will dry. Now, you don't want to use this right away because it's still soft. You can take your heat tool and dry it. But I went ahead before and made one. So you can kind of see I was a little lighter in the Balmy Blue. Probably I had more embossing paste on this one, so therefore it was a little lighter in color. But these are already. I did this about probably about half an hour ago. And so I did apply a little bit of a heat tool and then I just let it sit. So this is actually ready to go. This is hard. Okay, now you've got gluey, glittery hands. So I am going to actually, before I do anything, before this hardens, I'm going to take another piece, another baby wipe, and you can just clean off your, you do this right away, it comes off really easily. So I'm just taking a baby wipe and cleaning off. Now I'm going to take this and rub it under the water downstairs, but at least I will get the majority of yeah, you do remember those candies. You know what? I think one of the things I loved about the candies, so I have an unusual name. When I was growing up, I have to take this all downstairs. Watch me sit on it or something. Get glittery. When I was young, and now even if I went to find something with my name on it, I wouldn't be able to, because it just, Melva doesn't exist. Although it's funny, in the town I grew up in, of 1,000 people in Alberta, there were 3 of us. I was named after one lady, and another Melva moved to town. So it was kind of strange to have that many Melvas in a small town. But it was one of the few times that I actually had my name spelled out on something. So while I didn't eat those candies, it was kind of fun. All right, so I've got a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. So again, now into my blue. So I've used stencils, I've used embossing paste. Now this is the 3rd item from my inspiration list. This is blue. So 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And it's going to get glitter on it because I've got the embossing paste glitter is on my grid paper, but that's okay. Now I've got balmy blue. I've got a layer, so that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. So I want to cut my mask, or my embossed piece, and I want to cut it to 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to, first of all, trim. I'm kind of being selective of where I trim this so that I don't lose all of my snowflakes. And let's, and I didn't do that very well, but that's okay. I think that's okay. I could have cut a little less off the one side and a little bit more off this side, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so I've cut this piece to be, yeah, they weren't very edible. You're right. 3 3/4 by 5. And it's just going to adhere on to my piece. Now this actually, it's interesting. I used balmy blue, but as I look at it, it almost looks pool party-ish. So depending on the amount of reinker you put, you can change kind of what the color is. As I said, I think these ones definitely are a little bit bluer. So I was a little lighter hand on my reinker. Okay, so I've got that glued down. Now I've got some of this. This is the silver 1/8 inch ribbon. It's part of the gold and silver trim. So I'm going to take, I'm just going to put a sentiment across. So I've got a piece like this in Night of Navy, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment, but I'm going to just take and zigzag my twine, my ribbon, up and down. So this is my silver element, like that. Okay, I guess I need another little bit. There we go. Okay, and then I've got a piece. So I've cut this piece of basic white, 1 inch by 3 3/4, and then my Night of Navy is 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm using, this is the Christmas Classics Oh, wax lips. Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten about those, Claudia. Yes, wax lips. It's been a long time since I've seen those. Yeah, so this is the Country Classic. It is, for the most part, actually, there are a couple of images here with the holly leaves and the boughs, but mostly it is sentiments. So I'm going to use the Season's Greetings, and I'm going to stamp it in Night of Navy. It's fun to actually look back and see the candy. My sisters and my niece and I were in Banff, Alberta, a few weeks ago, and we went into a candy store, and they had I don't know what the brand was. I remember them as Popeyes. I may have it wrong, but they were like cigarettes, candy cigarettes, which just as a kid, you kind of, now you just think what a horrible candy that was, but they still sell them. Surprising. And yeah, so we had a good laugh about those. All right, there we go. So this is 1 1/4 by 3 1/4. They're the same length. I've just put them 1/4 of an inch wider. And then this can go on here. Don't know what I'm going to put on the inside of my card. I'll have to see if there's a sentiment that can go on the inside of my card. All right, so this embossing paste, because there's liquid to it, it does, it can cause your card to warp a little bit. So you can use tear and tape. I'm going to use, I think I've got it adhered down pretty well. And this piece of this layer that's on my sentiment is quite wide. So I'm just going to make sure I have a fair number of dimensionals across it, and that there's kind of staggered so that it doesn't wobble. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to put it so that I've kind of hidden the middle of my, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to just cut this a little bit. There we go. Okay, now colored dots on the long paper. Oh, the colored dots on the long paper. I don't know that I remember that one. Was it like a candy dot that you pulled off the paper? Not sure I remember that one. Okay, so while I've got my ink pad out, let's find there's a stamp here that says Season's Greetings. So there's one that says to you and yours. So let's do that. You could use the snowflake, this snowflake sparkles or sparkling snowflakes, and stamp a snowflake on the inside if you wanted. But oh dear, straight up and down, especially when you get ink on your candy dots. Okay, I don't know that I remember those. I lived in a really small town, and so we didn't, some of the things I only saw when I went to the big city. I was always excited to go and stay with my older sister because they had it would have been a Kmart at the time, which I don't think exists anymore in Canada, a Kmart, and they had all sorts of amazing things at Kmart that I didn't see. So long strips of bubble gum and things like that that we just didn't have in the town I grew up in. Okay, now the last thing. I think I said to you the other day, I end up with hundreds and hundreds of the little tiny rhinestones. So we're going to use some of these rhinestones, and I'm going to put a rhinestone on each of the snowflakes, just because I have so many of them. Maybe just on the bigger ones. Somebody suggested I use them for the center of snowflakes, and I think that was a great idea. All right, I think I've got, there, that used up some of my snowflakes. Okay. All right, there we go. Isn't that pretty? So if you have some of this embossing paste, I don't know if you can see the glitter. Kind of see it. It's just so, oh, there we go. You can see the glitter in it. It's so pretty. So if you've got some of the embossing paste in your your cupboard and you don't pull it out very often, now's the time. It's perfect. And if you have these Abundant Beauty decorative masks, they're great for this. I'm looking forward. Oopsie. Oh, actually, I thought I'd smudged my piece because something got layered on top of it, but it's still a little damp, but it's for the most part dry, so it didn't smudge. Thanks, Pam. Let's see. So if you've got some of the embossing paste, try it, and try it with some of the other decorative masks or some of the other masks. There's another set of masks that we have in the catalog. I've forgotten the name of them, but there is another set of masks in the annual catalog that you could use the embossing paste with. And so there are two kinds. There's the regular embossing paste that isn't shimmery, and then there's this gorgeous shimmery one as well. It's perfect for the holiday season. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me today and commenting. And if you haven't subscribed, I think most of you are either follow me on my Facebook group or have subscribed to my YouTube channel. But if you're watching this on the replay and haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button and you'll get notified when I go live. So I'll be back live on Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific. So hopefully you can join me then. Hope you have a great day, everybody. Happy stamping. Bye.